figure it out, get over yourself, treat people like humans, and you'll have a better time at work. What is going on, L&M family? Back at it again. And this time I got like a ultra high status construction celebrity on here, Miss Kabri Luhrman Schmid. She is a national construction influencer, but not just an influencer because she posts cool stuff, but she is actually a project superintendent for Hensel Phelps. And she seems to have fun spending her time on like ultra super complex aviation projects. And not, if you've ever done any work on an airport, if you ever been to an airport, you know it's difficult. She's managing work, massive volumes of work on these projects with massive numbers of people. She's been in the field for 18 years, and she's built a career by redefining what leadership looks like. And that's like my honest observation, the way she rolls. I've actually shared the stage with her maybe a couple times now. I know one time for sure. She's the real deal. And we're going to kind of dive into some of the goodness that she does. But first, if this is your first time here, this is the Learnings and Missteps podcast, where you get to see amazing human beings just like you sharing their gifts and talents to leave this world better than they found it. I'm Jesse, your selfish servant, and we're about to get to know Miss Kabri Luhrman Schmid. Kabri, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Your energy just makes me like glow and tingle. This passion for this industry and the people around us. Let's do this.
Oh, I think tingly, sparkly, that's exactly how I feel. I mean, you and I, we've been working to make this happen, and we're finally here. And this time I feel like I have an advantage because the last time we were on stage together was the webinar with NCCER. And you went first, or rather you went before me. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be difficult because you're a baller. And so this time I have the upper hand because I get to ask all the questions.
And I have no idea what you're going to ask. So let's do this.
I know. So we'll start with a super easy one. What does job site leadership look like?
Oh man, I love that. So you mentioned, I'm a superintendent. I work for a large general contractor, always have. So large commercial, large aviation projects. I take the role of leadership really seriously. I'm in the privileged position to be responsible for the entire job site, right? We set the tone. We are the role models. What my team does is set the standard for how people are taken care of, what the expectations are for behavior, how we can facilitate the use of resources on a job site. I mean, we are bringing language to every interaction that sets all of those tones. We are saying, this is how we expect people to talk to one another. How can we support you? And you said you're selfish servant earlier. That is how I see job site leadership. We are clearing out the barriers. We are setting the plan that is only as good as the information people are giving to us. And so, gosh, we better create an environment where people are interested and empowered to give honest information. And it's information that makes them feel successful and that they're contributing in a meaningful way. And that's a big ask because you have to create a place where people want to be. You have to create a place where people feel like they can utilize the skills that make them so proud of the work that they're doing, because that's what drives our industry.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Now, would I be wrong in saying, well, of course, this is your mindset because every construction leader you've ever worked with has that same mindset?
No. No, that has not always been my experience. I don't remember how you worded that, but I get what you're getting at. I haven't always experienced that. It was something that I think I came to born out of a few different personal and external experiences. I'll be honest, some of them were driven by negative personal experiences, some out of the anxiety and the experience of being a 5'1.5" superintendent in the industry. I was very driven by getting a lot of consensus built around my plans because I didn't want it shot to hell when I brought it up. I wanted people to believe in the plan and to know that I took into account their perspective, and I wanted them to understand my schedule and their place in it. And so I spent more time than my peers making sure that I had people's feedback and that my plan reflected that. And so this idea of consensus building and perspective taking became part of how I lead a project. I was criticized for that at times. I was told, don't pay attention to the drama of your crews. But in reality, my night crews driving the critical path right next to the passengers at the airport were the most successful. And so some of it came out of learning how to navigate my surroundings from my perspective. But some of it came from seeing how the best leaders around me were able to create a language that other people bought into, or were able to adapt their language to communicate in a way that people understood and were able to say, I know what's going on here, and to communicate to their audience well.
Yeah. They got to be able to put their hands on the handle. And languages, we're not talking like Spanish English, right? We're talking, or French English, doesn't matter. We're talking about English, and the language that we speak. And that was part of my presentation, right? At the different levels of the organization, create holes for people to misunderstand, and that leads to other things. But you've had the opportunity of being around amazing leaders. And I think what I heard was your style, your approach was informed by both really painful negative experiences and some actual inspirational, transformational type leaders that you said, okay, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. Let me go this direction. Absolutely. Now, you said 5 foot, half inch, superintendent. Why in the world did you, like, you and I are in the construction industry and there's a litany of career pathways. What was it about the superintendent role that you said, I need to do that? Because let me tell you first, like, you're killing it. You are setting a standard that I think every damn superintendent, aspiring superintendent, needs to follow. But why in the world would you pick it? Because it is not like it's probably the next to a foreman, a trade foreman. It's the least glamorous job on the job site.
Oh, I just love talking to the smartest people out on the job site. I mean, to be able to, my favorite thing is being able to hear pieces of information and bring the people who understand it together to understand one another and to make a plan. And I saw that was not always easy for people to do, to get people to talk to one another, first of all. And two, to be able to synthesize a plan out of all of the problems and all of the pieces of solutions that were out there. And being able to talk to people is fine for me. Like, I never had a problem with it, but being able to jump in and see those pieces and how they could come together and then convince other people to listen to one another, that's my jam. And I get to do that right now. I'm all fancy because I'm in pre-construction, and I get to do that with the owner and the design team. And that's kind of the special role I've built for myself, is I started in pre-con and I roll over to the superintendent. I've done that on a number of projects now, which is pretty cool, because I get to understand and I get to tell all of my crews why they're doing what they're doing. But the reason I love being a superintendent is because I get to be out there solving the problems. I get to be able to look at it and touch it and really understand what the challenge is for the people who are doing the work. And then I get to hear their stories, and the stories are the best. The passion and the intelligence is, I could go listen to, I'm married to an engineer. I get to listen to that kind of smart people all the time, but it's nothing compared to our skilled trades people and the amount of just precise knowledge. I take it as a point of pride to be able to be that connected to our people out in the field.
Yeah. And I love that. Because right. Especially plumbers. Can you guess what trade I was?
Especially.
Ultra philosophical and intellectual. They're not all as handsome as me, but they're still pretty philosophical. Now, I'm not goofing here, but for real, there are some super damn intelligent folks out there in the field. But, and this is going to lead to a question, but I know me coming up as an apprentice, journeyman, etc., I never was made to feel like that. And sure, there's a little tone of victimhood there, but I would have an idea and present it to the superintendent or the project manager on the job site, or we'd have a real situation, a real problem. And what I got back was, stop making your damn excuses, just go put your pipe in. And I'm like, man, there's a problem coming. Like, I see what you're doing, step 1 and step 2, but step 5 and 6 is going to be a disaster if we go down this route. I don't want to hear your complaints. Just do what you're told. I'll talk to your office. And so when did you discover, like, these people really have tremendous intellect and value to achieving the ultimate goal? What was it that helped you see that? Because again, it's ultra rare, Kabri. If you don't know it, it is ultra rare out there in the industry. I would say even within your organization. I haven't been on a lot of y'all's projects. Let's do the L&M family member shout out. And this one goes to Daryl Della Foss. He's attended what is now known as the Self-First Time Mastery Workshop. And Daryl sent this. He says, awareness of getting work habit planning into my personal life, the value of breaking down large personal activities that are dancing in my head into detailed to-do list tasks on a calendar to commit to was invaluable. Daryl, thank you, first of all, for willing to sign up and be in that 4-hour workshop with the rest of the crew. And then furthermore, for taking the time to send me this nice note, because I always like compliments. It feels good. And I also like critical feedback as well. So L&M family members out there, you already know, drop me a comment, leave a review, DM me, doesn't matter. Just give me an excuse so that I can shout you out in a future episode. But I do know this for a fact. Everywhere I've been, there's some hotspots of amazing people, but they are the exception. And so what was it that helped you recognize that and not only recognize it, but leverage it as one of your superpowers?
Oh man, you're going to make me cry, because I've never thought about this memory in this kind of way before. In fact, I was talking to one of my managers, my operations managers of my region, 3 days ago about this, because we have this one person in common, now retired. The person who hired me when I was an intern working at the Pentagon renovation project. I was working for the owner's rep. Yeah. Killer first experience for the construction world, because I don't have a history. My family has not worked in construction. I was an engineering student. Okay. And I lucked into a fantastic internship, and I saw one of the most successful federal design build projects happening. And it was my company, Hensel Phelps, working at the Pentagon, renovating wedges 2 through 5. And I saw the immense collaboration. I saw interns talking about rats the size of cats running under interstitial slabs because there's a river under that building. Anyway, It was amazing. And I walked up to the largest superintendent I could find, and I said, I want to be an intern with you next summer. And he said, who the hell are you? And I said, well, I'm an intern with the owner's rep over here. And he said, well, put your resume and your transcript on my desk by the end of the day. And we ended up in a conversation, and I went to a pretty good school, and he said, kids that come from your school don't make it. He said, you don't have a history of construction in your family. And he said, I'll be honest with you, because you don't respect the craft. It's because you don't understand what it takes. It's because you're not willing to listen. It's because you think you know more. And I took it more as a challenge. I didn't take it offensively, because I didn't know anything at the time. And I had no stigma to be like, of course I'm going to ask questions. Why would I think I know more? I don't know. I never felt like I had that bravado. It set the basis, in the way that you just posed it was, I was told at the very first day that was my job, was to listen, learn, respect, and serve our craft and trade partners. And it was done in a demeaning way. And now I've been here 18 years and, things are great. But the person who hired me told me that was my first and utmost responsibility. And from then on, like, I just loved listening to the stories and hearing the whole process. But thank you for putting that in a more positive light for me. My mental health, I don't know.
Well, I think one thing that the L&M family out there can take from this is sometimes the most profound and impactful direction, coaching, and advice we get comes in a sour flavor. and that's okay. I think of Ed Mauricio. He was a pipe fitter, and I was his apprentice for like 2.5 years. When I found out later that it was kind of a miracle because people quit on him and they kind of wanted me to quit. And I did it. Like, he was hard. But one of the things he told me, he's like, Jesse, all I want from you is one thing. I just need you to be smarter than the pipe. And I'm like, and so whenever I was doing dumb stuff, he's like, Jess, that pipe's smarter than you right now. Right. When I would get stuck on small things, Jess, that pipe's smarter than you. And so it didn't feel good, but it stuck and it was impactful. It helped me think about it, take multiple options. There's more than just one way to skin a cat, get some input, ask for feedback, ask for help, like small things wrapped up in that. You're dumber than the pipe, Jess.
Yeah.
And so good on you for taking that as a challenge, right? Because in my head, when you're explaining, I was like, oh yeah, I would have been like, oh yeah, well, let me show you, ding dong. But also as, okay, that's what I need to do. Because yes, here in San Antonio, we did a reflection. It was funny because the company I used to work for, I was on the project, like I was hidden, right? Because I wasn't installing anymore and I would support my teams. But the deal that I had with the project teams was like, I'm going to come out there and help, but you can't tell the GC I'm going to be there. And you can't tell them who I am. If they ask you, I'm just a day laborer, because I was responsible for assigning manpower to all of our projects. And so if they knew they had me on their job, they were going to come and tackle me and you know what you would do. So that was the deal with my team. Don't tell them. Anyways, it was a successful project, high profile project, but our experience of their lean program was not amazing. And I got to see it like, oh, this is wonky. Anyways, I then went to the dark side. I quit that company and went to work for the general contractor. And I'm hearing them talk about this project and how awesome the lean program was. I'm like, what world are you guys from? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, bro, I was out there. It sucked. Like, the job was good, decent, I'll say. But that lean stuff that y'all were doing, it was horrible for us as the trade contractors. So anyways, I said, here's what I suggest. Because they were very open-minded. That project team was like, well, man, if it wasn't that good, we need to know how can we make it better? Because it was good for them. It wasn't good for everybody. So we brought the framers, the MEP, and the framing contractor. We said, we're going to have a feedback session with you guys, and we really want to know, what did we do well? What do we need to improve on? So on and so forth. And we got some good information. But the one thing that stood out the most is this is tied to what that first superintendent fed you. One of the guys said, it's the young, he didn't use this language, but he said, it's the younglings. He said, the biggest problem that we have out here is you have these kids that are pretending like they know everything. Mm-hmm. They don't listen. They don't ask questions. And we know they don't know. So what we do is comply maliciously. We say, okay, you want to do something stupid and you're not going to listen to us. We're going to do it. And so that was the biggest rub about all the things. And so, and I was like, okay, well, how do we handle that? And again, one of the trade leaders was like, man, all they got to do is ask us. We want to teach them. We want to help them. But for whatever reason, and I'll say 0 to 3 years out of university, right? That was generally the situation. They are not asking questions and they are not listening. All they need to do is we will teach them. We will share. We will be open. But when they come at us, like they know what the hell they're doing, they don't listen. They don't understand the work. They don't appreciate the work. And we know it. It's a bad situation. So it's not just you. I think it's a natural thing. And I really feel, this is me, I have no idea. It's just a big assumption. I think a lot of that, like the younglings refusing to ask a question and maybe pretending, overcompensating for what they don't know, is them overcompensating for their insecurities. And all they got to do is say, I don't know. Can you teach me? Can you show me? Can you explain this to me? I mean, so maybe that's how do the trades respond to you? Or maybe if we do like a percentage wise, when you early in your career, when you asked them about their work, what was the percentage that said, grab a chair, let me tell you, versus I don't have time for you, get out of my face?
The only person that ever said, get out of my face, was with my own company. Seriously, I never encountered that. It was always like, oh, I need to get back to work. Can you get back to work? I don't want to ask you to get back to work because I want you to answer my question in the future, but I'm pretty sure we're both going to get in trouble if you don't get back to work. I was always met with more than I asked for in information. It was, I mean, so helpful. But to your points about the youngins and how your trade partners gave you that feedback, when the onus is on job site leadership, and it's not just to teach the younger employees about what they can or should do in order to learn, because the pressure they're feeling is also from their own team about how they need to perform and what they're trying to prove and what they're being asked to do that might be beyond their skill set, or where they do and don't know they have autonomy or not, what performance looks like. But it's also like telling our trade partners, I tell straight up, I say, on this project, I want you to bring apprentices. I want this to be a project where you want to bring them to learn. And I end up with more women. I end up with more underutilized zip codes, just people who are like, oh, this superintendent's okay with us training people here. Please, let's make that a place where this is a value. And I expect you to answer the questions of my brand new field engineers because they're brand new.
I'm sure that leaving this world better than you found it doesn't happen by accident. And I want to help you spend more time making this world better for yourself and the people you care about. So I want to invite you to the next Do the Damn Thing Time Mastery Workshop, because we're going to be having some fun. We're going to be taking all those goals, those ideas, those projects, those dreams, the things that you keep putting off because of the commitment you make to work and the commitment you make to family and the commitment you make to everybody else except for yourself. When you get those out of your head and finally come up with a plan, make the space, find the time for you to make those things real, for you to actually get the ball moving on the things that are going to give more flavor and meaning to your own personal life. Check the show notes for the link. I hope to see you there. And back to the show.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. You just opened up a can of worms. So there's two things that are kicking around in my head. One is friction from your peers. The other is KPIs. So I'm going to go down the KPI idea, and then we'll circle back to friction from your peers, because I think it'll be valuable for folks that are early in their career in any industry, because one, you're living proof that if you stay the path, you can have amazing impact and influence, and also the practical, how do you deal with it and overcome it? But here's what's ringing in my head, and it's something that I'm jealous because I get to meet amazing leaders now, more amazing leaders now. Now, son of a gun, I would for real, Kabri, if this consulting thing don't work out and my feet picture OnlyFans page don't work out, I'm going to come be a laborer on your project. I would love to just work and experience the leadership you're talking about. Now, back to KPIs. I understand schedule, budget, safety, quality, right? That's kindergarten. If you ask me, those are kindergarten metrics. You're going to have them whether you want to or not, right? It's just going to tell you were you on target or not. But what I heard you say is bring your apprentices, and they're saying, hey, this is a place where we can learn and develop people. So the KPI that I'm curious about is, do you have a sense of how many careers you have impacted with the approach that you have taken? And I'm not just talking about direct employees and direct reports, because what I'm hearing is your projects are a learning environment to develop the skills of the men and women in our workforce. Am I overreaching here?
I mean, that's what I hope for, but I know that the leadership of those trade partners, I know the people on those crews have given me feedback in ways that their experience on my projects has been unlike on others, that it's given them an insight to what the industry could be. It's given them insight into how they could run their crews, like permission to how they could run their crews in other spaces. The KPIs, any kind of measurement metrics, is people who are coming to your job site once, like the waterproofer for 3 days, the third-party inspector who's subbing in for somebody else, and is, whoa, what's going on here? And
This
they
is
notice
weird.
something different.
Yep.
And you're like, what do you mean? What's different? This is just how I run my project. And the third-party inspectors, people are talking to each other, like talking. I'm like, because we have a concrete placement. Yeah, they're talking to each other. And then I learn his son has been the third-party inspector for the last 6 months. And he said, my son hated his job, and now he talks about his job like he likes it.
Yeah.
Like that, when the pile, rig foreman is saying he went home and decided that his kindergarten son's class needed cow bones buried in the yard for an archaeology project over the weekend, when instead of saying, my kids will never be in this, you're doing that. Like, that's what I can do with a job site.
Yes.
Like, and anybody can.
Yes.
You can do that as an office engineer, project engineer, calling the structural engineer, saying, instead of, you got to change that on the submittal, could you explain why you didn't do that on the submittal? Remember, I'm married to a structural engineer. I hear these stories all the time. I say, you have to call your structural engineer and say, please and thank you, please. So I don't get in trouble.
No, it's easy.
It's that easy. It's literally sharing your thought process and offering the resources you have, which can be like a green check mark on a submittal. But that's how you change people's lives. You ask how they are, and then you find out 4 months later that you made that week something completely different for them, and they stayed in as an electrician because of you asking if they're okay.
Yes. Not just as an electrician, in many cases on this earth.
Yes.
Right? Because they are nameless, they are voiceless, because as an industry, we treat them that way. And when I say them, I'm talking about our trade craft professionals and superintendent, like the whole industry. Yeah. We have developed this way of interacting with the human beings as if they're disposable. And we can't do that anymore. I'm excited. This is bad, but the shortage of labor and the massive amount of work that we have, and the quickening exodus of boomers is creating the perfect conditions for companies, decision makers, to have to do it differently, to have to do it, and to be clear, to have to do it like you're doing it, Kabri. I don't know if you know this. I bet you do. I know your office does. Is the trades, when they're on a project like yours, not only do you get preferred pricing, you get preferred performance. I know that for a fact, because you're not getting the dummy tax. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say the dummy tax? I've been on the side of the trade where we say, hey man, we want to go aggressive after this project. We want to put a 0.80 multiplier on the labor. What do you think, Jess? It's a tenant finish out. I'm like, okay, well, it's already up. That sounds good. Who's the GC? And they would say, these people are these. I said, who's the PM and the superintendent? And depending on what name I heard, I said, oh, no, you need to mark that. That needs to be a 30% markup on labor, because it's going to cost us every penny to make money, because they don't know. First, they treat people horrible, but they don't know how to run a damn job. Or if I got like a Kabri, I'm like, Dude, do 0.75 because we're going to make money and we're going to be able to develop our people. So back to the Cape. And so folks out there, if you think this like being a human and appreciating other humans on your job site is weak sauce, there's real money tied to just being a damn human. Like for real. And if you don't, it's the dummy tax. Ask your trades. They'll tell you, or maybe they won't. If you're not telling you, it's because you're the dummy. There's a little secret there. Now back to the KPIs. Again, I get a lot of sidewinder laser looks when I say budget, schedule, quality, and safety are kindergarten metrics. Oh, you finished on time? You did your job?
Yeah.
Right? Like you fulfilled your legal obligation in the contract? Ooh, that like for real, we're celebrating that? How many divorces happened on your project? How many people are struggling with substance abuse? How many people are on the verge of a nervous breakdown? How many people got promotions on your job? How many people grew? And so those are the KPIs that we don't pay attention to. And you have the testimonials, right? That's amazing. I don't think it would be very difficult to track promotions. How many people got promoted on the projects that you're on? How many people built a new skill set or got a raise? Like those are real metrics that speak to the culture and the environment that you are designing and maintaining. And how long you've been doing it? 20, 15, 20 years?
Yeah.
Massive impact. But we don't measure those things. So I bet the number's probably 10x what you would guess. Kabri, what do you think?
I hope so.
Can you kind of care about this stuff?
It's great. No, you're right. I mean, that's how we should be thinking of our people. I'm passionate about the industry's mental health and our workforce well-being. I'd love to champion the topics of suicide awareness and psychological safety. But the reality is that we have people coming to our job sites every day that are whole people, and all of the KPIs that you reference and really their life wellness needs to be accounted for.
Yes.
And I do think that the industry is in need of a shift, but also that there's more and more conversation. Finding you online, it's a whole community of people who are talking about how to treat people right within the industry. Yep. It's like my favorite part of LinkedIn is like people are like, don't go to LinkedIn. That's only people trying to recruit other people. I'm like, but no, there's this whole community of construction people who like love people in construction.
Yes.
Trying to explain it. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like superintendent 2.0. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I can tag people for you.
Yep. Oh, no, you're right. It's turned into a pretty interesting, weird, but amazing thing. And I'm here for it. Until they kick me out, I'm going to be a part of it. Now, I'm going to go at the psychological safety, but first, I got left people hanging with the friction from your peers thing. You are a change agent. You know this. I don't know if you know it. I'm telling you, but I think you know it. You're a change agent. You're a catalyst for change. You're an influencer. But that does not happen without friction. And so I'm curious for the young L&M family member out there, even the experienced L&M family member that has been apprehensive about affecting change because of the friction. What do they absolutely need to expect? And what are some tips to like working through the friction?
Sure. I think that the methods that I like to think I represent, the relationship building, the how to treat people, the thinking about how you can use your resources to support other people. I think that anybody can personally recognize their ability to do that within their sphere of influence. And what you can recognize is that it will make a difference from where you're at. It will make a difference as a PE. It will make a difference as an assistant superintendent, as a foreman, as a journeyman, as an apprentice, treating the people around you better. It will make a difference. And that will spread throughout a job site. Anybody can create that kind of environmental change, that feeling of, oh, that person isn't just treating somebody like crap because their area is clean. They're actually supporting by handing a broom. Like, that changes the dynamic, and anybody can be that catalyst for change. And so one, recognize that this doesn't need to be a grand experiment.
Yes.
It can be you acting within the realm of your own resources. So that's one. Two, because I'm high leadership now, right? Like it's a very different animal now that I can talk about it in a way that I actually can back it up with a change order or contract terms or whatever. I can change the job site hours. I can talk to the Port of Seattle or whatever.
Yes.
It has not always been like that, but I can still work towards the same outcomes of relationship building. But to get pushback that your style doesn't match other people's, that can come up in a performance evaluation. That can come up in a, well, I think you're wasting your time, or that looks like you're too much dramatic information with me, which of course goes into stereotypes about gender. I'm not a social person. I'm not sitting there chatting all day. Believe me, I'm not. But yet you're comparing me to that. You know, there's that risk. And so, of course, as you know, a woman in the industry, I always need to walk the line about whether I'm being compared to being dramatic or overly anything. And so there's the constant management of, how are you doing your job? Are you working towards the outcomes that are expected of your position? And even if I'm disrupting, I am working towards the operational outcomes that not only my company is expecting. I'm trying to improve on understanding and delivering on what my audience, what my trade partners, what my design team members are trying to achieve. And maybe that's the thing that gets misconstrued so often, is that people think that you might be working in a different direction than the project because they see a different method. But to explain that, no, I'm literally trying to make our teammates successful, and to convince people that that's not anti our own success. Rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
It is not detracting from our success to make everybody successful. Literally, when my concrete trade partner starts coordinating the delivery by themselves with the plumbing contractor, is a freaking win for everybody.
Yes.
I don't need that extra call at 4:30 in the morning. A text saying it's done is just fine. So expect that things can be misunderstood, but start to develop a language to be able to explain to people what your goals are, because you're not going to just need it to the people who are misunderstanding around you, who have influence on your career, but you really need to be ready to explain it to the people you are trying to impact, because you need to be able to say out loud, we are trying to achieve. I'm doing this differently because I want to achieve, and you need their feedback.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Like 2 key points, folks, out there in the omniverse is you can affect change directly where you're at right now. You don't need to have the title. You don't need to have the authority. You can just smile with somebody else. That is affecting change, right? Like we can absolutely do that, right? Simple. The other part is, even with all the influence, like you're the baller superintendent and you still have friction, right? Like you gotta expect the friction. And for me, this was my challenge long time ago. I got over it a long time ago, but I thought the friction was because I was defective.
Yeah.
I thought it was because they didn't like me. It's not that. People just don't like change. I represented change, so they were resistant to that. And once I came to terms with that, like, I just need to figure out how to speak your language and listen, because maybe I'm a little bit off, I'm a few degrees off, but if I listen, you're going to get me in alignment. We start speaking the same language and we can make something happen, but it doesn't happen overnight. And the reason I'm banging on this is because I know a lot of people that want to see change, and they think that they need to talk to the CEO, and then the CEO is going to listen and go make the change. Man, I've never been able to do that. So if you can do that, go do it. But when I make change, I change my behavior, I impact and influence the people closest to me, make their situation better, develop a body of work, it becomes easier for me to start changing upward instead of horizontally, but the friction never goes away. So anyways, what do you think, Kabri? Do I just make it too difficult?
No, I mean, the example that I gave of the concrete trade partner talking to the plumber, real example, but let me be clear. That was 9 months of me working with that concrete trade partner to trust the different process. And I don't blame that crew. They had been beat down by GCs for freaking years on high rises, right? And I bring them to my little project and they're like, who's this lady? And I'm like, you have to talk to my staff. I want you to make sure that you're training people. They're like, no, we're like a highly refined team. Like we can do repeat. We're great at all of our post tensions. Like we are refined. I'm like, I'm so glad you're here. And also I want you now to do more since you're so great at that. And it took 9 months to gain their trust. And when I say 9 months to gain their trust, I mean, every single day there was some form of the conversation of, I am here to support you. My field engineer is doing as-built severe reinforcing to talk to the engineer for you. Now, were there some backslides? Was there me like really getting angry about them pulling a 40-foot trailer onto the job site without telling me? Sure. There were a couple little hiccups in the road. But after all of that time, they left that job site and I could call that superintendent for anything. And he changed how he coached his own crews. The people on his crews who were unwilling to make eye contact with with my staff are now training teams of apprentices. And like when I did some 360 reviews a few months ago, I know it was he that wrote in here. He said, when I visited the job site before the project started, she wrote down every word I said to make a plan. And I'm like, that's all it takes, folks. Grab a notebook.
It sounds dumb, like, just take notes. No. When you take notes, specifically, GC at a trade partner, or I don't really like the word trade partner. Kabri, I have issues with it.
Oh, good. Tell me. Why?
Because when we're partners, there's shared risk and shared reward. There is not the power dynamic is absent. Okay. I understand the philosophy, and I would even go as far as to say you probably treat people like partners on site. Now, as a subcontractor, when I submit an invoice, it's 45, 60, 90, 180 days till I get paid, and retainage is being withheld. How is that? Like, I don't want partners that treat me that way. So call me whatever you want. But if you're not going to treat me like a partner, don't call me a partner. And also there's the kind of the technical element of it in IPD. That's where the term comes from. And they are actually partners because their signatures on the contract of shared reward and shared risk contractually on the ultimate performance of the project. So in my head, I get the sentiment, but people use it and fail to technically deliver on what a partnership would look like, A, and B, they just it's just another damn word. I'd better off calling me dumbass because that's how you're treating me.
Fair.
What do you think? Is that, am I too sensitive?
No, I mean, it's based on your experience with it, right? You have both like the ideal situation with IPD and true partnerships. You have the negative experience of payment. I could go on and on about how I'm 4 months behind here with my partner of an owner, but
exactly.
But that's, I understand. I do. All I can say is that when I say it, it's because I want you to believe it, and I have to. I need to live up to that in every conversation. Otherwise, I do the same the same disservice to the term, and it's useless. If I use 100%. It wrong, then it's doing more harm than good.
Yes. And I'm also going to add that you don't have to, I understand the whole payment and financing. I get that. Whatever. It's not that
we don't
hard,
need to argue about payment terms.
Right. Just freaking treat me like a human being. And then you can call me trade partner. For real. Be nice, be cool. And then you can call me whatever you want. But if you're going to be the typical BS, just call me dumbass. Don't waste your time calling me partner. That's all I'm saying. Now, two things you said, again, for our construction professionals out there that, again, speak to the level of empathy that you have. One, 9 months. Took you 9 months to get the concrete guy over the hill, right? To kind of finally get that puzzle piece to lock in. I'm going to say that's kind of fast. Like for real change in terms of relationships and behaviors and trust. 9 months, like nice, because it takes an enormous amount of time. It takes an enormous number of reps. And this ties to the second part of a point that I want to make, to heal and mend the wounds that our craft workers bring to your job site. And so what do I mean by that? You already said it. You are the exception. You didn't say that. I'm saying it. The majority of general contractors out there treat the trades like garbage, period. Disrespectful. It is horrible. They have no interest in whether we're making money or not. They don't understand that we're the solution or that we can be the solution to their problem, but they treat us like the problem all the time, every time. And so all of a sudden, if that's how I'm getting treated everywhere I go, and then I come to your job, guess what? You're just another one of them. You could say all the nice words and have all the sticky notes on the wall and fancy ass freaking apps. If I've never experienced a reciprocal, respectful interaction with the GC before, this is alien. This is all just a cover up. And it's going to take me a lot of time to get not comfortable, but to build trust that you are going to treat me differently, like for real. And so your ability to account for the fact that they're out there getting abused and demoralized project after project after project, and that is a natural thing that you're going to be overcoming, is tremendous. And I think it's the same thing for everybody else. Like, why do they behave? Why do we trades behave that way? It's because your peers have created the conditions for us to behave that way. That's what it is. Now, you brought it up, and I think I'm going to say you are an expert in this area. And I know you pinky promised me that you would give everybody the perfect formula and recipe to make it happen. Great. So you remember, right? You remember? How do you do psychological safety and team culture? I know there's like a 3-step formula that makes it happen 100% all the time, every time, in less than 6 weeks. What was it?
Yeah. She read a book about that, huh? That 3-step process. Oh man. Psychological safety. Okay, let's define that quick. Psychological safety, it was coined by Amy Edmondson. We talk about it more in the industry now than we used to, but really it's kind of an understanding of how team dynamics work. If you look it up, you'll get great studies about how it improves team performance, team communication. It helps with how people feel about the work that they do. Really, it's about people feeling comfortable enough to share what they need, ask for what they need, share ideas, and to express their mistakes as part of a team. Now, usually people think it's all about how people feel, right? It's about emotions. And so often it falls into the realm of, well, we need to train people on how to do soft skills in the industry. And it falls into like leadership training. That's one component of it. But what's missed is that with all of these outcomes that have been studied, Google's Project Aristotle, all of the statistics you can find for the increase in retention, the decrease in physical safety incidences, etc. It's actually all about performance. And so when I think psychological safety, I think about how we can embed the treatment and the experience of people into our everyday operations and systems that have all been created to achieve those industry KPIs you mentioned. And so how do we achieve safety, productivity, quality? We achieve them with the gazillions of freaking systems we already have. We're not trying to add on to those. We're trying to do them in a way that encourages people's participation. When a new worker shows up at your job site, how do they know that they can say, I've actually never put on a harness before, so when you just assign me to climb that scaffold, can you train me on that harness? It's them feeling like they can ask for that, okay?
Yeah.
And the outcome is a safer situation and somebody who's better trained and a whole team that has a better learning capacity to see people doing that, okay? And so it's how do we create within our operations and existing systems a way for people to better see their contributions and to know and trust that those systems will work for them. That's psychological safety in my perspective as a superintendent is you need to get your people on your projects to trust that all those systems you're using are actually going to work for them and that they can be proud of the work they're putting into it because they see their contributions coming out of it. When you say, hey, let's sit down and look at this schedule, they freaking see their words reflected in the schedule, right? You can say, hey, this is where you said that window wasn't getting delivered on time.
Yeah.
And that makes them feel like they can contribute more.
Yep.
What it means is that when you have a really tight set delivery calendar with the university campus that you're in, along with graduation week happening, that your concrete trade partner can say, hey, I know I'm not on the calendar, but I'd really like the opportunity with a truck available to take off some of the wall forms. I know the plumber's there trying to get his fittings in, but we've already coordinated, and I'm going to use my forklift to get his fittings out so that I can pull off my wall forms if that's good for you. Done. You've developed people feeling that they can make those contributions.
Yep.
And it's a level of trust, but it's a trust in systems, not just in people.
Yes. Oh my God. We might have to do it part 5 and part 6 of this conversation because I love that it's the trust in systems. Like 100% it's people, right? Systems don't matter if you don't have people.
Yep.
But for some of us that are more data oriented, which is my nice way of saying scared to be vulnerable, that are more data oriented, a deeper conversation, or your second book after you write the How to Establish Perfect Psychological Safety in 6 Weeks, the idea around designing the systems to drive performance with psychological safety, right? That's what I heard you say. I agree 100% because it is a system. What are the feedback loops? Are we listening? Are we asking? Are we responding? That's a system, but we could get super technical with it. And I'm going to have to leave it alone because I'm just going to nerd out and monopolize all of your time, Ms. Kabri. And I got to ask this question because I saw these letters and I figured like it was a tattoo that only the super ultra cool people get. I saw these letters. It's FAAF. And since you're working on aviation projects, I figured there's the FAA, but you get the F and you get a super secret tattoo because you've been on these projects. Am I overreaching on that one too?
So there are a lot of unique acronyms to aviation projects.
Yeah.
FAAF is not associated with the Federal Aviation Administration, though I did have a meeting about a crane and some requirements we have this morning. FAAF refers to the Fearlessly Authentic AF award recognition that I was recently involved in. And so that was a super awesome kind of process to be not acknowledged necessarily personally, but this award recognition was about authentic leadership cross industries. And I got to be able to represent our industry on a stage of general business, healthcare, insurance, people who are usually where the books point to for how to run businesses and the summary. And I didn't take this as a negative. One of the audience members said, if the construction industry can figure out how to lead people with humanity, anybody can, because we were the example of success. And I was so proud to be able to showcase people who don't know the work we do. And I was able to give them a window into things they didn't know that their family members had done, into what was going on across the street at a job site. And they were awed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. But did you get a tattoo, an FAAF tattoo?
No, I didn't. I need to. I should. I need to get number 25. So maybe that one will be it.
Number 12. Damn. All right. So fearlessly authentic AF, which I'm going to say yes, right? Like, you're amazing. Since we first connected, we did connect on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm a snob. If you didn't know that, I'll see people post stuff, right? Like culture. And I'm like, yeah, let's see how long this one lasts. And I'm like, oh, she's still there. Oh, like she's for real. Oh, I need to know her. And like, folks, if you don't know, that's what I do. When I see you post stuff about teamwork and people and I'm watching you because there's too many damn pretenders out there. That's not to say that I don't understand when people piss you off, because that's part of it. But, you know, sometimes it's just out of popularity. But it was clear to me that you give a damn about people. And one of the observations I got to make in my career, started off on the trade side of the business. I was a trade partner. I was there for over 20 years. I went to work for a GC for 3.5 years, got to serve the Central United States. Then I had some national responsibility where I got to go to projects all over the country. And the one thing that I got to see is the number of amazing projects was this big.
Yeah.
I started my career in 1995. In the 1900s, don't tell me when you were born, Kabri, please don't. And the number of projects that I worked on that I felt valuable is probably 10.
Yeah.
And I've been on chingos, lots of them. And then when I started traveling the country, I got to see, man, the projects that kick butt, like the client's happy, the trades, they're talking, everybody's like getting along and joking, high perform, people are getting promoted, and like all of that, they all had one thing in common, and you have it. They were focused on people. They appreciated the human experience. Did they put up with a bunch of crap? No. Did they lollygag around and enable whining and complaining? No. But they valued people and they created conditions for people to thrive. And so, of course, you're fearlessly authentic AF. And that's the other element, is you're doing it your way, against the grain, because it is against the grain. Maybe not anymore so much at Hensel Phelps, but I'm sure when you started it, it was, why are you doing it like that? You don't need to put up with that. And right. And then industry wide, it is against the grain. And also, if we can do it, anybody can do it. And you're doing it. And there's a bunch of other folks out there that really need to just freaking get on board, figure it out, get over yourself, treat people like humans, and you'll have a better time at work. Come on. And make more money, like for real, for real. So I know people are going to fall in love with you. So I don't know if we should or shouldn't, but if you're up for it, where should we send them if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, you can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm open. Anybody wants to connect, please don't be shy about reaching out. I love talking about teaching. I've had some great opportunities working at universities, but really connecting with younger students, telling them about the industry, talking to anybody who wants to talk about anything construction related. Please just shoot me a note.
Boom. So we'll make sure we get that link in the show notes. Now, are you ready for the grand finale question?
Ready.
Okay. I'm anticipating, I shouldn't say expecting, I'm anticipating a pretty profound response, because And you've been very gracious and elegant about probably some of the stinky stuff that you've dealt with in your career. Because there's no doubt in my mind that you've had to overcome some bullshit. And you still maintain a positive outlook, investing in everybody around you beyond your responsibility within your organization, within the industry at large. And so that gets me excited about what you might say to this question. What is the promise you are intended to be?
I want to be the bridge between how field operations creates powerful connections at the job site level that serves the wellness and operational goals of organizations. There needs to be a champion of like field leadership culture. I know culture is an overused word, but it's somebody who can understand the link between systems and people. Somebody who can provide that oversight. Somebody who can just champion that messaging and make sure that people are looking at those right KPIs. And I'm too proud of my conviction to the job site to just let that go. It's in union meetings and just be a general superintendent and be too careful for the job sites. I want to be that translator. Keep influencing the industry from job site leadership level, or even if it's like these massive aviation projects, just gives me the ability to touch your people.
Yeah. I got chills. They're multiplied. You're amazing, Kate. Has anybody ever told you that you're amazing?
Oh, well, you have. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for sticking it out all the way to the end. I know you got a whole lot of stuff going on. And in appreciation for the gift of time that you have given this episode, I want to offer you a free PDF of my book, Becoming the Promise You're Intended to Be. The link for that bad boy is down in the show notes. Hit it. You don't even have to give me your email address. There's a link in there. You just click that button and you can download the PDF. And if you share it with somebody that you know who might feel stuck or be caught up in self-destructive behaviors, that would be the ultimate. You sharing that increases the likelihood that it's going to help one more person. And if it does help one more person, then you're contributing to me becoming the promise I am intended to be. Be kind to yourself, be cool, and we'll talk at you next time. Thank you for sticking it out all the way to the end. I know you got a whole lot of stuff going on. And in appreciation for the gift of time that you have given this episode, I want to offer you a free PDF of my book, Becoming the Promise You're Intended to Be. The link for that bad boy is down in the show notes. Hit it. You don't even have to give me your email address. There's a link in there. You just click that button and you can download the PDF. And if you share it with somebody that you know who might feel stuck or be caught up in self-destructive behaviors, that would be the ultimate. You sharing that increases the likelihood that it's going to help one more person. And if it does help one more person, then you're contributing to me becoming the promise I am intended to be. Be kind to yourself, be cool, and we'll talk at you next time. Peace!